talking about Cobra Kai's third episode, Esqueleto. Hello everyone, and thanks for listening into the podcast today. I'm your host, Betty. Okay, so I have a few things to talk about at the top of this podcast. Number one, I am so sorry that this is coming out late. I live in Texas, and we have been having some really crazy weather. And that's also sort of the excuse, but I'm so overwhelmed with trying to keep this podcast going and trying to maintain the things, and I'm getting a little burnt out, to be frank. I may take a break here in the future, but for right now, I'm going to keep powering through. Now, if y'all listen to my Outlander podcast, y'all know that I'm also dreading getting to the last two episodes of season 1 of that show. So, and if you watch that show, you'll know why. But this is something that I enjoy doing, and I love, recording and talking about my favorite shows. So, I'm not going to let, me feeling this way stop me from doing this. I'm just having a little moment, and, I'll try to get back on track. And again, like I said, the weather has been really crazy here in Texas, so yeah. Anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about, because I started making a list in the last episode of the most annoying characters in this show. And, I've got 3 on my list so far. It's Anthony number 1, Kyler is number 2, and Yasmin is number 3. This is what I want y'all to do. If you're listening to this, wherever you see this, whichever Facebook group or wherever you find this at, leave me a comment in the comment section about which character annoys you most. So I want to hear from y'all, because I know you're out there and I know you're listening. So that's I just want to hear from y'all. So anyway, let's get into the discussion about this episode. The synopsis reads, Miguel helps Johnny advertise Cobra Kai on the web. Daniel agrees to chaperone at the Halloween dance so he can keep an eye on his daughter. So this episode, it starts out, Miguel is in his room and he's listening to 80s rock band music, and he's doing his karate thing. He's practicing what Johnny's been teaching him. And his grandmother, she's cooking in the kitchen, and she goes to knock on the door to tell him to come set the table because, dinner's, about to be ready and everything. And she thinks he's doing something inappropriate, but he's not. He's practicing karate. But anyway, and then it goes to them sitting at the dinner table, and his mom comes in because she was late from work because it was really hectic up at the hospital where she works and everything. And she sits down at the table and asks him what he wants to be for Halloween. And he says he would like to be Deadpool, but the costume is too expensive. And so she says that we'll make you a costume. But the grandmother is like, no, this is not a sweatshop. I love his grandmother, by the way. She is so awesome. We could make a list of awesome characters on this show too if we wanted to. But anyway. And then Miguel's mom notices his hand, it's a little red and stuff, and she asks him what's wrong, and his grandmother's like, well, you don't want to know. And Miguel is like, what? Because he's clearly, he doesn't realize that's what she thinks he was doing. But anyway, and of course, he can't tell either one of them what he was really doing because, they wouldn't approve. So anyway, it goes to the next scene. And it's Miguel, and he's actually practicing his karate. He's training at Cobra Kai, the physical place. And Johnny, he's in his office, and he's worried about, having students come in. And because the only student he's got right now is Miguel. And I'm not even sure if Miguel is a paying customer. So anyway, he's kind of worried about that. And so he comes out of the office, and he asks Miguel if he has any friends that would want to learn karate. Because, if he doesn't get any more students, he's not going to be teaching Miguel anything, because Miguel was asking him when he was going to learn how to do kicking. And Miguel brings up, well, haven't you thought about advertising, right? And Johnny's like, well, yeah, duh, and everything. But yeah, you can tell he didn't think of that until Miguel brought it up. So it goes to the next scene, and it's at the LaRusso house, and Amanda, she's coming down the stairs, and she's telling Daniel, she's complaining about some of the stuff going on at work, and Daniel, he's standing at the window watching Sam and Kyler kissing outside, and everything like that. I guess they're getting ready to go to school and stuff. And she realizes that Daniel is not paying attention to her. And so she goes on to this story about how Louie, which is the person she was complaining about, which is Daniel's cousin too, how he had opened an underground casino in the break room. And that finally gets Daniel's attention because he's like, what? And everything. And Amanda tells Daniel that Samantha is going to be fine, that they met Kyler, and she questions him why he's letting Johnny get in his head about it and everything. So I'm going to be real honest with you right here about Amanda. At the beginning, in these first few episodes, she annoyed me because, like I said in the last episode, I didn't feel like she was, disciplining her children good enough. And then here, she's kind of just dismissing Daniel's worries about Samantha, with Kyler. And Daniel has a right to be, concerned. He's just doing the fatherly thing, and she needs to kind of be supportive of Daniel, I feel like. And I wasn't feeling that vibe from her at all. Like I said, she annoyed me in the first half of this season. She's kind of like Dimitri in that way. She was annoying at first, but she grew on me later on. She warmed up to me faster than Dimitri did, though. I'm going to admit that right now. Now, here's a character that's going to go on my list, though, is Louie. Because in the next scene, he's talking to Daniel about how Daniel can fix this problem that he's having with Samantha and get Kyler scared, which maybe good advice, but not the type of advice he's giving. You don't do that. But yeah, Louie is one of them characters that's going to go on my list. So I guess he would be number 4. So it's Anthony, Kyler, Yasmin, and Louie. And really, if I'm being honest, I kind of want to switch Anthony and Kyler around because I don't like Kyler at all. But that kid, Anthony really does irk me. But anyway, I think they may be tied, y'all. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so it goes Anthony, Kyler, Yasmin, and Louie. There's at least one more in this episode that gets on my nerves. I wasn't even counting Louie, but now that I'm thinking about it, because he was in the first episode where Johnny and Daniel had their confrontation. So, I should have brought him up then, but I don't even think I was making the list back then, so I'm forgiven, I think. But anyway, back to the story. It goes to the next scene where Daniel is sitting in his office with Louie and Anoush. So Louie is giving Daniel advice on, how to take care of the situation with Kyler, and he's trying to give him advice from some movie he watched or something like that. And Anoush is like, don't do it because, this is how women have daddy issues, and they're the worst or the best, depending on... Anoush is being kind of a creep here, too. But anyway, Daniel's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then But then Louie says, well, then, look at her phone, keep an eye on her phone. And again, Daniel's not going to do that either because, he's trying to be a good parent. So all he wants to do is talk with her. So it goes to the next scene, and it's at the school and everybody is in the lunchroom, and this teacher, and this is another one that is going on my list. I think I have, 5 now? Five people on my list. This teacher, she is standing up in front of the class, and she's talking about bullying, which, good. Yes, that needs to be addressed. But when she talks about the student that was being bullied, she actually says what the kid was being bullied about. She didn't name names, but